Today I'm bringing you an update on my battle against the Alberta government for my right to write a book. And I'll show you why I think the fix was in against me and my book from the very beginning, using the NDP's own words. Last week, I blew the whistle on myself and told the world about how NDP holdovers in the Alberta government in an NDP-created bureaucracy called the Elections Commissioner are investigating me and have been for the last 3 months for writing a book called Stop Notley. That book hurt former Premier Rachel Notley's feelings. These Notley appointees have threatened me with, quote-unquote, serious consequences if I don't turn over my editorial and planning emails related to the book. You can see my full 20-minute plus video, including all my emails and telephone communications with the investigators from the Elections Commissioner at SaveSheila.com. And at SaveSheila.com, you can also help pitch in to cover the ballooning legal costs in my fight for the free press and free speech here in Alberta. I'm going to say some other things in this video that are important, but I think this next thing is the most important thing to say. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude for all the support, financial and otherwise, coming in from normal, everyday people who simply believe it's my constitutional right as a journalist to express opinions contrary to the government of the day, and that it is my right to say those things in the form of a book in a free society. The messages of support and the prayers being sent my way have been overwhelming. It's a scary thing to fight with the government when the government has seemingly endless resources at their disposal. But it's comforting to know that I have the people on my side and the people have my back. And some of the messages have been a really good reminder that the stories we do here at The Rebel and the causes we take on affect our viewers in a deeply personal way. And that is a really good fuel in the tank to keep me fighting for things we believe in and that matter to us. In fact, in just a couple of days, we blew past our initial $48,000 fundraising goal. That first goal was simply to cover all the legal costs I've already incurred in the last 3 months of dealing with the Alberta government. And thank you so much again for that help. Now we've revised our fundraising goal upwards because we've only covered my past legal costs. We're fundraising now for anticipated legal costs because honestly, we have not yet even begun to fight these people, or for that matter, I have not yet been fined by the Elections Commissioner for refusing to produce my documents related to the book. But I anticipate that fine is coming my way very soon. The investigator has said as much. Those are the serious consequences he promised me. You can help pitch in to cover those future legal costs at SaveSheila.com. And now I want to tell you why your support is so important and why my battle with the Alberta government is so uphill and why I think the fix has been in against me for months. I have 2 clips to show you from the campaign trail way back in April 2019. These clips are both from before I got that original letter from the Elections Commissioner telling me they were opening an investigation into me and my book and my lawn signs. These clips are from 2 of the most powerful people in the NDP in Alberta, which makes them 2 of the most powerful NDPers in all of Canada. The first clip is from a press conference where my colleague, Keean Bexte, was pressing an NDP cabinet minister named Darren Billis about some explosive allegations about drug abuse made by his ex-wife. Just watch what the Premier, Rachel Notley, jumps in to say.
Premier Rachel Notley, documents filed by Minister Billis's wife, sworn affidavits, suggest that he has a problem with drug addiction, as well as suggest the details in that sworn affidavit suggest that he might be one of the MLAs who the NDP caucus covered up in terms of sexual allegations. Can you confirm or deny this?
What I can say is that that question is essentially irresponsible rumor mongering, and with the greatest respect to you, you work for an organization that probably ought to be registered as a third party under the elections legislation, and so I have nothing more to say to that.
Did you catch that? Our former NDP premier concluded that we at The Rebel are not journalists, but rather a third-party advertiser subject to elections laws, despite the fact that we do journalism every day. And Keean was at that press conference as a journalist. Notley's comments that day were totally inappropriate and counter to our Canadian principles of freedom of speech, the free press, and of course, innocent until proven guilty. It was a total abuse of Notley's role that day, and not a single journalist cared to speak up and speak out when a room full of journalists recorded her comments. And it was also a warning of things to come, wasn't it? Okay, next clip, again from the campaign trail, and again from the incredible Keean Bexte. You're going to hear from Anne McGrath. She was running to be an NDP MLA in Calgary, but she was also the head of the McDougall Centre, which is the Southern Alberta satellite arm of the government. McGrath is a very powerful NDPer and at the time, probably number 2 in the entire province. Keean was confronting McGrath for her communist past, and just like her boss Rachel Notley, instead of answering the questions being put to her by Keean, who is committing a dangerous act of journalism on the campaign trail that no one else would do, McGrath, without investigation, evidence, or the Charter of Rights and Freedoms on her side, decided Keean wasn't a journalist either, and then she called the cops on him, which is exactly what a communist would do to a journalist. Just watch.
Do you think it should be treasonous to run as a communist during the Cold War?
I think that you should be registered as a third party because you're not an actual media outlet, so I'm not talking to you.
So you don't want to tell the residents of Calgary Varsity why you ran as a communist candidate?
I'm not talking to The Rebel. The Rebel is not a media organization.
Has any other media organization asked?
I'm going to call the police.
Okay, we're in public, so I'm allowed to ask you these questions.
No, you're not.
I'm not allowed to ask you questions.
Not on a sidewalk when I've told you I'm not talking to you. This is harassment.
It's not harassment. You're a public figure and a communist who wants to represent Albertans.
The NDP lost an election in a total wipeout, but they didn't learn anything about why or how much people despise their continuous attacks on freedom. The NDP couldn't ban me from the legislature, even though they tried, using an armed sheriff. An investigation into the government's actions back then found I was indeed a journalist, which is, of course, a crazy thing to have happened at all in a free society. A government banning a journalist with an armed sheriff and then conducting an investigation to decide if that person is indeed a journalist. It's absolutely unreal. So now, out of petty spite, the NDP are using a soon-to-be struck down, if I have my way, elections censorship law to try to change the rules on me and shut me up. Would I ever get a fair hearing if such a thing is even possible under a bad and unconstitutional law that doesn't allow me not to testify against myself, especially when the most powerful NDPers in the entire country were signaling every chance they got to their proxies and appointees to investigate me for writing a book. Too bad, Robotnik says. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms protects me now just like it did before. The NDP and their proxies can't burn my book, and with your help, we aren't going to let them. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. The Alberta government is investigating me for writing a book that hurt the former premier's feelings. To see the full story and to help support my fight for the free press in Alberta, go to SaveSheila.com.